It takes a brave, courageous person to start, launch a business, and grow it to 10 years. I'm very excited to be chatting to the founder of the Psychological Wellness Centre Lesotho about her journey on how she is changing the lives of Basotho one client at a time. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the conversation with Miss Lebohang Maskhonyana Bering. Good afternoon.
Afternoon, Dadentebe.
How are you doing? How are you feeling today? How are you? It's such a beautiful Wednesday afternoon, and we're having this incredible conversation, but not just incredible in the sense that it's a conversation, but because we're celebrating a very significant milestone that we'll get into in a few. But before we get too carried away, firstly, you always ask me this question: How are you arriving today? So, how are you arriving today?
Mixture of feelings, but the ones that are up there, excitement, but also a little bit of anxiety, just because I'm stepping into something, new territory altogether, but at the same time, very excited.
Very excited. I love that. I love that. So maybe let's start with introductions. Tell us a bit about who you are, where you come from. Yes, who are you?
Lebitso la ka ke Lebohang Maskhonyana Bereng. I usually say ke ngwanana wa Mmatekwana ha se lebalo fatentse pedi maleikomo. I'm a counseling psychologist by profession, and like you said, I'm at the private practice at the Psychological Wellness Centre here in Lesotho.
So for people who may not know the Psychological Wellness Centre Lesotho, tell us a bit about what the PWCL is and what kind of services you guys offer.
Basically, being a psychologist in private practice, we will still be offering your usual services that one would receive at any clinic or hospital or psychiatric facility. Of course, there's different categories. As counseling psychologists, we tend to work with what we would call well-adapted people that are still orientated to time, space, and the environment, basically. As opposed to somebody who is going through a psychotic episode, for example. So we work with individual adults and children. We work with families. We work with couples. And being a counseling psychologist, also another area is to work with corporate. So that's another, in terms of employee assistance programs and just supporting different corporate or organizations rather.
It takes thank you for that. It takes a very brave, courageous, and I would definitely also add a mentally resilient person to start a business. So what inspired you to get into private practice, firstly, and also took us through the journey of how PWCL, the Psychological Wellness Center, started? Where did it all start?
I always say it actually just hit me because we happened as a family to have an amazing opportunity to be living away from home in North Africa. And when I first went there, it was a huge culture shock and transition. As a psychologist, my main tool is language. And I was in a place where they could speak only French and Arabic, and I couldn't speak any of the two languages. So I knew there was no opportunity for employment. But later on, I think after 4 years of doing nothing as an expert woman, I was part of a group of expert professional and business women that we were saying, and this is a huge group of spouses that accompany their partners. But you'll find you have your medical doctors, you have your engineers, we had professionals, literally lawyers that were part of the program. And we're trying to see how we can reinvent ourselves. And that motivated me to say, wait a minute, if I can't get hired, how about I hire myself? And of course, private practice was the way to go, focusing specifically on the Anglophone community. So when we relocated from North Africa to West Africa, literally I decided I'm going to hit the ground running. And we set up the private practice just once we launched.
So you launch. What feelings are you experiencing building up to the 10th year anniversary?
Oof. It's so emotional looking back. And I guess also thinking of the people on whose shoulders I was standing on at that point in time. Even just the emotions. I remember at that point in time, I usually have a practice through one of my coaches, Juliet, that I set up for each year just to say, what is the word for, for that year, my word for the year. And I remember that year in 2014 when we started, even before I set up the private practice, my word that really resonated was courage. And I was like, courage, interesting. What do I need to be courageous for? And I didn't know at that point in time how much courage it needed for one to really step out, because it's a new world of the unknown. It's very fearful and anxiety provoking to be able to do something that you don't even know whether you're going to be successful. We think about what will people say if I fail. So stepping out was very anxiety provoking, but I think that word would remind me every step of the way, even as I met challenges, just to say, oh, you need to be able to push through because you started, you can do it, you learn through mistakes as you go along. I look back and I always give this testimony to say I want to beat myself up when I think of the fact that I took about 3 months before seeing the first client, still thinking I'm setting up the private practice, paying rent in that 3 months. But now looking back, I realize it was the anxiety of just starting and stepping out, until a friend of mine just told me, I'm going to book a client for you, the very first client. Whether you're ready or not, you're just going to see them. So it really took a lot of courage. It took people supporting me. I remember Rosette, who was there at the beginning. I remember Evelyn. These are the women that were part of the Expert Professional Women. Charlotte Ducoc was coaching me free of charge. So I think sometimes people see the 10 years and they look at an individual and there's no way I would have been able to achieve that
Sure.
alone.
In the spirit of being courageous, you've literally walked the journey, and 10 years later, you are still standing. What does a 10-year mark or milestone signify for you and for the practice?
You know, looking back, and when I thought of the anniversary, the Kremlin, the negative voice, said to me, which everyone has, said to me, what do you have to show for the 10 years? And I was thinking, what do I have to show? And I think most of the time you're thinking of the future, the dreams that you have that are way, way bigger than you. And you look at the 10 years, and I know a lot of people around me, even just my colleagues and friends and family, they always congratulate me on a lot of things that I've been able to achieve in the 10 years, the lives that we've been able to change, corporate organizations that we've impacted, people. And sometimes I even think people that will never even be able to know that we had an impact on. So for me, I also thought this is an opportunity just to be able to step into another season and start. Since 2014, not 2014, 2014 is when the private practice started, but 2020 when COVID hit, you'll remember, because I know you were one of the people that I invited to talk about finances
Sure.
and how to manage that. That was a difficult time. COVID had just hit. Everyone was, we didn't know how we're going to handle this. And just impromptu, I thought, let's just give people information in terms of how to manage the stress and being home. And we had set up on WhatsApp just sessions on a daily basis that would be able to encourage people. And I remember after those sessions thinking, it would be interesting to start something, a conversation, a platform where people can come, feel safe. Let's talk about mental health and issues that affect us. And it has been my baby since then. But sometimes you dismiss it and think, I'm not a content creator. I'm not a YouTuber. I'm not going to do all these things that young people, including TK and them, do. But then in this day and age, you can't be in business and not be a content creator. The information needs to be out there. It's part of marketing. It's part of, voicing out. So literally, this has been a season that I thought I'm just going to step up And it's been something that has been burning. And the ideas would come even at midnight, and I would write them down to be able to say, oh, maybe this is an opportunity for me to step out and this thing that I'm so passionate about, put it out there. And that was the birth of the Talking Cure podcast, just to be able to come and create a platform. And there's still many more other dreams that I can't even share at this point in time that are way, way bigger. For example, I know that in Lesotho, we don't even have a single private psychiatric facility. We only have our hospital, our government hospital, which is Muhlomi, and the other Muhlomiyanas that we have in different districts. We have to refer patients to Bloemfontein, which is 2 hours away. And when we're in a crisis, you can only imagine. So what does that say? And for me, I feel like we are the ones that we've been waiting for, and it's time to step out. And
we are definitely the ones we've been waiting for. And I think I also want to take this moment to congratulate you. 10 years in business, navigating the many complexities that come with running a business is no child's play. And I think, yes, oftentimes we don't celebrate the milestones. Oftentimes we don't give ourselves a pat on the back to say that, wow, you've done really, really well. So I want to take this moment to say congratulations.
thank you.
And as we step into the next season of PWCL and the Talking Cure podcast, right? Maybe let's delve a bit into that. You said you wanted to create a platform, and I love when you say that you can't afford to be in business and not be creating content in one shape or form or on different platforms, because people are on their smartphones, people need access to information instantly, and so on and so forth. So for people who are curious about the podcast you're launching, maybe let's delve a bit deeper into what the podcast is about, what you've already highlighted, what it inspired it, but what people can expect from the podcast going forward.
Yeah. I think when it comes to mental health and TK, even though times are changing, but we know there's a lot of taboo and not talking about mental health, even just to be able to say, I'm seeing a psychologist, I'm in therapy, or I'm battling bipolar or depression, or whatever the case may be. It's still a bit of a taboo, and I think it is time that we start breaking the silence and speaking out and even normalizing, because when I know that there's somebody going through similar challenges, I'm able to say, how do they come out of it? It's true, I'll be able to sift through and take into my toolbox what I can be able to walk away from. But sharing and creating a space where we can be able to come, share, open up, cry together, laugh together, also understand what the profession is all about. I think as a Mosotho and as an African psychologist, I've always made it my mission to be able to psychoeducate the public, just for them to be able to know what we're talking about when we talk about the profession, the different categories. When do I see a psychologist? When do I see a counselor? When do I see a psychiatrist? What do they even do, even within our profession, the different categories in terms of scope of practice that we have. So the podcast will be an opportunity for us to say, hey, let's talk all things mental health.
Let's talk all things mental health.
Yeah.
And I think for me, let's talk everything mental health. The name is also quite captivating, the Talking Cure, So maybe just tell us a bit about the story behind the name of the podcast.
It's very simple. When we talk about psychotherapy, we always say it's cure by talking, hence the Talking Cure. And since this is a platform of mental health where we can come and be able, when we talk, we're purging, we're throwing up, we're taking out whatever that is there. I always say, I know in our beautiful country that is so mountainous, every time we drive up the mountains, you can feel a little bit nausea because of the roads and the cabs. And when you feel anxious, nauseous, a little bit sick, if you stop and get fresh air or you purge out whatever that's making you sick, it leaves you feeling a little bit much better. So the Talking Cure is an opportunity for us just to be able to come, have a discourse, purge what needs to be taken out. And even as disgusting as it is, I always say we look, even after purging, after throwing up, you look so that you can be able to see what has been ingested and what is it that is giving you trouble, because it helps you to identify, to diagnose, and be able to say, this is where the problem is. Then it gives me an opportunity to say, how can I deal with it? And also, we hope to be able to give tools, because knowing what the problem is, but not knowing how to deal with it, and without having the right tools, we hope to have on the channel a number of professionals, whether counseling psychologists, clinical psychologists, psychiatrists, forensic psychologists, even
The whole spectrum,
industrial,
yeah.
HR, when we talk about corporate, so that we can be able to share the tools that people can be able to walk away with.
As a content creator myself, I get so excited whenever a new podcast launches, and I'm always so supportive. So best believe I will be there cheering you on, giving support, also holding you accountable, because a lot of content creators, the one thing they struggle with is consistency. And so that accountability comes because once you launch, you have a community that depends on the talking cure. So I'm very excited for that. And as we step into the month of October, not only is it the 10th year anniversary for PWCL, but it's also Mental Health Awareness Month, with the 10th of October being Mental Health International Mental Health Day. So what are some of the initiatives and plans that you as PWCL have in celebrate the day? And yeah, what are the plans and what can we look forward to as supporters of this amazing organization?
When we first moved to West Africa in the summer, which is our winter here, it was around July, August, and we happened to have started the private practice in October, which is so beautiful because that happens to be the mental health month. And like you said, Mental Health Day on the 10th. So as part of just stepping into this new beautiful month of October of mental health, of course, we are commemorating with the 10th anniversary celebration that we'll be having at the beautiful gardens of Butling Guest House. And we're inviting everyone to come and join us. We're going to have an amazing panel of professionals, your psychologists, your psychiatrists, that will come to inform us in a relaxed, nice ambience where we can be able to take everything in. So that is one celebration that we'll be doing. And of course, the launch of the Talking Cure is another thing that we're really excited about in this month of mental health. I cannot talk just about the Psychological Wellness Centre without talking about the Psychological Peer Credential Society of Lesotho, which is a group of psychologists that are coming together to build and regulate the profession within the country. We are also planning to have a session on mental health. We're super excited about this year's topic. The Mental Health World Federation, and in collaboration, of course, with the WHO, has named this year theme as it is time to prioritize mental health in the workplace. And I know that sometimes we spend a lot of time at work. We even forget that, but we need to be able to sensitize organizations, create and build a culture of wellness, because it's not just about productivity. Even EAP programs, research these days show that it can be a win-win situation.
Sure.
Where if employees are taken care of, they're able to put back into the organization, which in turn brings about productivity. So it's really exciting for us. We're looking forward to have a walk. At the same time, also, we're inviting the organizations, will be knocking on your doors, so that we can be able to bring your employees just to have a great time and to be able to commemorate mental health. Another exciting news is that the Psychological Society will be joining the Pan-African Psychological Union, PAPU, this year.
Oh, wow.
And we will be announced as one of the new upcoming member countries that will be joining other African countries that are doing amazing things in the space of mental health. We have a conference, the SAISA conference, the Psychological Society of South Africa, which is also commemorating 30 years this year. So there's a lot to celebrate. the Pan-African Psychological Union is commemorating 10 years
Oh my
also.
God.
So from the 7th of October to the 11th, we'll be having a congress in Johannesburg in South Africa. And we're looking forward also, that will be an exciting moment. So there's a lot happening in October, and we're taking advantage of this month of mental health to remember, to bring awareness, to commemorate, to come together, to talk about all things mental health.
And to prioritize mental health, particularly in the workplace. So that is a beautiful lineup of exciting, amazing, incredibly inspiring, I do have so many words, events,
Yeah.
But I think of particular importance is the 10th anniversary that is happening on the 9th of November, where people can buy tickets for the event to be part of that event. And obviously, all the details will be provided in the description box below. Oh, so Melebo, as we come closer to the end of this conversation, what are some of the closing remarks? I saw you get so excited about 10 years and the conferences and the 30 years anniversaries by the different institutions within the fraternity, right?
Yeah.
What's on your mind as we wrap up this conversation?
For me, this 10 years has been a reminder of why we exist, purpose. Who am I? Where am I going? What am I all about? When my time on this earth is over, what will I have deposited? And I really feel like it is time that we start planting the trees under whose shadows we'll probably never be able to sit under. And for me, this is a challenge that I'm stepping out to say, I'm in the space of mental health. What is it that I'm going to do with the tools and the opportunities that I have? How can I reach out to somebody else? So at the core of it in that day is purpose. It's about personal growth. It's about also working on ourselves, discipline, personal mastery. And that's different from being perfect, but being excellent. We always look up to for example, the government or people in high position and expect so much from them. But there's a lot that we can do in our little corner. If I want my beautiful country of Lesotho to be excellent in the way that we do things, I should stop pointing fingers, but instead be excellent in my own corner. Whatever that I want to see, like Mahatma Gandhi says, let me be the change that I want to see. So for me, I guess that is the biggest challenge in that day. There's a lot of excitement. We're stepping into the new season. There's a lot of newness that is coming. I'm super excited about the Talking Cure. And I'm really appreciating, I've seen you with many different people, not just me, the support, the sharing of information, because you're many steps ahead of a lot of people. And just to be able to share and make sure that we grow together as Lesotho, for me, I see as one of the trees that you're planting in this country. And there's so many people that are going to benefit from that. So, Ndade, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to the anniversary. Like you said, on the 9th of November, we'll be celebrating in Butleng. Get your tickets. I invite your world, and we'll definitely see you there.
I am absolutely excited. I'm so excited because it is not just 10 years of building of blood, sweat, and tears, but there's also a new chapter there's a newness. And it's exciting for me because we're recording this in the month of September. And for me, September represents growth, new beginnings, new seasons. So I do wish you all the best for the next 10 years and beyond. I do wish you well for day one of the Talking Cure. And I do wish you well and a lot of success for the 9th of November 2024 when we celebrate that. Congratulations on the 10th year anniversary. I wish you courage, I wish you resilience, and I wish you mental health.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a great conversation chatting to this trailblazer of note. My name is Tukiso TK Ntebe. I'm a content creator, financial advisor, and a moderator. Thank you for having me, and thank you for having us and listening to this incredible conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. And thank you to everyone.
Cheers.